Hey everyone, and here with us is the man who helped piece together a massive gaming community formerly known as ScrewAttack and continues to lead the way by innovating online gaming communities as we know it with GameAttack. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one, the only, Craig Skistimas. Craig, thank you so much for the opportunity. How you been, man?
I'm doing very well. That was a wonderful intro and extremely overblown. Well, thank you very much for that intro. Hey guys, I'm doing an interview with the Ball Gamer right now. I'm doing an interview. Bowling, you want to say hi?
What's
hey.
up? But
Grayson, you want to say hi, Grayson?
Good to hear you guys, man.
Chase. No, I didn't ask for you to say hi. That's not good.
Well, just a heads up, I'll ask a few questions about ScrewAttack, and then of course spend some time discussing your current venture with GameAttack. You cool?
I like how GameAttack is a current venture.
It is.
Sounds so official. Yeah, right. Well, it's more like an adventure.
Oh man. Well, before we begin, let's first get the juices flowing and with a couple warm-up questions. So, well, it's safe to say that you've been exposed to video games for a long time. So, take us back to the days of little Craig. Can you, by chance, recall what exactly got you interested in gaming in the first place?
I think we had like an Intellivision growing up or something. I don't remember exactly which console it was, but it was the one that had a circular controller on it or something. It had a number pad, and I remember playing some, crappy hunky-dory games on that. But really, I remember getting into the NES really hard. The NES, specifically Mario Brothers, Tetris. I remember watching my dad play a lot of Tetris on our old, this little TV that, it was like an old TV, right? That turned on, you had to play it on channel 3 or 4, and you had the AC adapter, you had to plug in the back or whatever. It was, or the coax adapter. So yeah, the NES is where I kind of found my love, but the Super Nintendo is really where it catapulted.
I just remember in particular that one time where you had him on stream and showed him the Mario games. That was such an awesome thing. Like, how did that come about?
I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun idea to do. My dad legitimately hasn't played video games since I was a kid, and he knows that he knows about what I do. He doesn't really understand what I do, and it's cool. It was just kind of fun. And GameAttack's so family that I thought it would be just a good extension of what we do, and having my dad on was the next possible thing. And starting with Mario makes a whole lot of sense.
The hat. Longtime fans know what I'm talking about, but what started your trend with wearing hats?
I don't know. I think it just kind of became a thing probably right before ScrewAttack really started. Actually, in early promo pictures we took for ScrewAttack, I didn't wear a hat at all, actually. And then just one day I popped it on, liked it, and we were selling merchandise. We're gonna have merchandise, and I thought, well, we should probably wear our merchandise. So that kind of became my thing, and I wore the hat, kind of went a little further. So. Now I just like to wear hats.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, Coming from a bald man, I understand.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I remember watching. Do you remember NBA Inside Stuff?
I do. Yes, with Ahmad Rashad.
Yeah, and Summer Sanders. I remember watching NBA Inside Stuff, and I remember watching about a player in particular who was really into hats. And I thought to myself, that's pretty cool. And I don't think that's really what got me into it, but for some reason that really sticks out in my mind. So just subconsciously in there, that must have really stuck with me. So,
well, you mentioned ScrewAttack in the hat, so I figured that's a good transition point. So, ScrewAttack, how did that come to be? I mean, it was really quite the achievement at a time where, gaming communities over the internet were still trying to figure themselves out, and then here comes ScrewAttack, and you guys just really took off with it.
Yeah, it was crazy. The origin story of ScrewAttack was pretty simple. I finished school, I finished university, and I was like, well, I have a degree in broadcast journalism, and I hate to read and I hate to write. So I really don't want to utilize this very well, but I like sports and I like video games. And I didn't really want to move to Pawtucket, Rhode Island and call AA baseball games and hope for somebody to die to move up the rankings. So I like talking about video games, and I had a buddy named Tom at the time, and I was like, well, let's talk about video games online. And that was pretty much how it started. So we went out, we looked for a domain name that fit, and we just knew we wanted to do this. And, we had no idea that podcasts were a thing at the time. So we're just searching for names. And I remember going down the line of remember we looked at redring.com and thinking of we were thinking of power-ups, from really strong power-ups in games. And we looked at Red Ring for Zelda, because that was the strongest ring you could get. And little did we know that it would have meant something entirely different with the Xbox 360 issues. But then I remember looking in GoDaddy and just searching for ScrewAttack, and us both of us like, that's clearly going to be taken, and it wasn't. And that's pretty much the origin. I mean, it's not romantic or anything,
right?
But it was just one of those things where we're like, awesome, let's do it. That fits. And so we bought the ScrewAttack domain, and that's how it all started. You know, so it was crazy, fun ride.
Well, when looking back at ScrewAttack, you guys produced a wide variety of gaming content over the years. So did you happen to have a favorite series in particular, whether you were involved with it or not?
Yeah, you know, there's a series I really like that I wish got off the ground. That yeah, obviously the Vault and Top 10s, those are really personal to me. You know, I love those series, but there's a series that I always wish took off that didn't get into a whole lot of traction. It was called Reboot or Retro. And we only did 6 episodes of it. And the premise is very simple. You take a look at the classic games versus the reboot of the game, which was happening a ton back then. And you compare them and you say which one was better. And I think I did like 2 or 3 episodes. I handed it off to Jared, and it just didn't really take off. But I really liked the premise of that show, and it was fun. I mean, we did so many series and just tried so much. I think that was part of the charm, and also the scatterbrain aspect of it. I think now that ScrewAttack is gone, it's one of those things where I don't think I realized the impact that ScrewAttack had until I saw kind of the reaction people had on Twitter, which was like this outpour of support and amazing. It was cool.
Well, that's actually a great way to end that question, because my next one is exactly what you said. It was recently announced that essentially on paper, ScrewAttack is no more. So they rebranded the Death Battle. So how did that news impact you as the founder? You know,
there's a reason why Game Attack exists, right? Game Attack is the result of us seeing ScrewAttack going in that direction for a while. And ScrewAttack reached a size to where I call it like critical mass, to where it was growing regardless. It was at a point on YouTube to where it's a good enough size that people are going to subscribe to it just because so many people have subscribed to it. And it was really cool. It was exciting. But what we saw with ScrewAttack was the audience started to shift, and we had more viewers than fans of our content, I guess is the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And viewers who weren't active, viewers that we couldn't talk to and they couldn't talk back. And we really wanted to correct that with Game Attack, and that's kind of where it all started. So yeah, you know, as for how ScrewAttack shutting down affected me, I saw it coming for a long time, but obviously when something like that hits you, you know, it's kind of like having a family member who's sick for a long time, and you're like, well, grandma's not doing so well, and she only has a little bit of time left, and you know, she's gonna die, you know, sooner or later, and then she dies, and you're like, oh, that sucks so bad, and you know, you're emotional about it, even though you knew it was coming. It's kind of like that. You know, it was sad, and it was for me. We did a stream where we talked about it, and Chad came on, and Nick came on, and Brian came on, and Sam came on for a short time, and a lot of the ScrewAttack guys just kind of chimed in. For me, that was that was really good closure.
Right.
And I think for a lot of old school G1s, that was really good closure for them too. It was something that I think we all needed, and just to sit there and talk about it and reflect and hear people's memories and stuff. It was touching for sure. Obviously, you know, would I love to see ScrewAttack come back in some way? Sure, of course, but you know, it'll never be what it was because the people who were attached to it weren't there.
Right.
So the company line was, oh, it's a rebranding. It's, you know, ScrewAttack's still there. It's just Death Battle. Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's a company line that is being spewed, and that's fine. They got to do what they got to do. And you know, ScrewAttack as a name, as what it was, hasn't been there for years. So you know, it hit me. I was pretty emotional about it that night. But you know, I feel good about things because I love what we're doing right now with Game Attack.
Exactly. And speaking of that, I'm about to get into that. But real quick, one last thing with ScrewAttack. Looking back, sure, what would you say is your fondest memory of your adventures with ScrewAttack?
You know, that's an awesome question. And honestly, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. So thank you. I think that probably my fondest memory of ScrewAttack as a whole is just that we tried so much and there was no script to what we were doing. I remember registering the business and being like, you know, it's ScrewAttack Entertainment, and we make online videos, and we're like, ScrewAttack, and you're making videos online. It's like, you know, there was an early thing, you know, our tagline early on was not a porn site.
Yeah, I always mention that too.
So, you know, there was no script to do what we did, and The huge big business conglomeration of the MCNs hadn't really taken over yet, and it was at a point to where there wasn't a whole influx of a ton of money from people like, well, you know, YouTube and the internet is the next big thing. We were just out there taking chances and trying things out, and if it worked, we kept going with it, and if it didn't, it didn't. I would say just the adventure Wild West aspect of it was probably one of my favorite things. It was just so fun to be a part of, and to go on a journey with those guys, and it to pay off, you know, pay off for them, because they worked so hard. I mean, we all worked so hard for no money, and none of us made any money, and it got to a point to where, you know, we were just, you know, the acquisition just made sense to allow guys, you know, stability of insurance and things like, you know, these basic things that you need to function when you're working a job and you're devoting so much time. So yeah, just the adventure as a whole was so, I don't know, it was just a cool ride. You know, individual moments that really stick out. Some of the E3 trips, SGC obviously was huge, and revealing new games that had never been announced. Having Sonic 4 on stage before it had been playable anywhere was amazing. The sheer emotion of those events were just awesome. And you know, there were great times, there were bad times, and you know, I've always said it was like a family. Sometimes you love your sister, and sometimes you hate your sister, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have her back, you know, and that's kind of how I felt about ScrewAttack and everybody who worked there.
Well, speaking of cool rides, I guess the best place to start with ScrewAttack is Shaun Boland, the man in the back.
Yeah.
So, you know, your partner in crime in ScrewAttack. So how did that friendship with him initially form, and where did the idea for you both to start ScrewAttack originate from?
So he was an intern, and then he left. And he actually came in after Fullscreen had acquired ScrewAttack. They gave me budget to hire essentially a community manager. And Shaun came in, and he was like so prepared, and he knew what he wanted to do. And unfortunately, what he wanted to do just wasn't possible at the time, but he was totally the right guy for the job. So fast forward a few years later, and Shaun has been creating content, and being crazy and wacky, and you know, doing top pin slides and making, you know, all these short films with John. And with ScrewAttack in particular, initially the idea for ScrewAttack was to split off from ScrewAttack, and at the time we were still working with Rooster Teeth when ScrewAttack started. We spent about 6 months with ScrewAttack under Rooster Teeth officially, and so I was running ScrewAttack at the time. And then when the time to split off and go independent, which is something that we both very much desired, it just made sense for us to partner up as business partners and kind of start from there. So he's been an awesome co-founder, and I can't ask for anything more. You hear that, Boland? You hear that? I can't ask for anything more from a better buddy and business partner.
Well, actually, we can do a take two, and you don't have to sugarcoat it because he's there, you know.
You guys don't have to sugarcoat it? Okay. Shaun Boland is a ruthless son of a...
ScrewAttack was all about edited content, but ScrewAttack is about engaging with the community with streaming content. Now, there is some edited content, but my question is, when you formed ScrewAttack, what made you decide to switch over to primary focus on streaming?
So streaming for us, it was such a logical step for us. We want to have the one-on-one interaction with people, and edited content and looking at comments of videos doesn't allow that. When we said we wanted to get back to a community-focused brand or community-focused company, live just made so much sense for us. It allows us to have that interaction, you know, and that's by far the most important thing. I know it's such a simple answer, but live content allows for more spontaneity. It allows for us the ability to do crazier, sillier things off the cuff and have that interaction that we want.
Well, you mentioned interaction and community, and clearly you have a loyal community. So what would you say is the best part about that community you've built, and how has it defined who ScrewAttack is?
Well, I think the community defies ScrewAttack way more than myself, Shaun, Grayson, Parker, or Chase. You know, the community is the backbone, and will always be the backbone of ScrewAttack. Whether we're purple, yellow, red, green, whatever, you know, the community will always be the backbone. And I think that started off real early. We were pretty conscious of setting a pretty good precedent about how we wanted our community to act, how we wanted them to interact with each other, and how we wanted to interact with them. There's so much negativity, so much crap online that you got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And we wanted to change that. We wanted to have this respite, this oasis, that allows people to step away and be themselves and be around other like-minded people, and even not like-minded people. I mean, even if you have totally, we don't do politics at Game Attack because politics are divisive, and we try to avoid those things that would separate people. Game Attack's all about bringing people together, and it kind of goes back to the thing, back to what I was saying about ScrewAttack. Sometimes you fight. Boland and I, we get in scuffs all the time, but you know what? We'll always have each other's backs. It's just like, with a brother or sister or mom or dad. Sometimes you just got to look and say sorry, but you're going to be there for them. That's for sure the most important thing for us is, when a G1 says, hey, I'm having issues, we're there for them. Hey, I need some support. Guess what? We're there for them. And when we say, hey, I'm having a crappy day, they're there for us. And I think that's something that is truly unique that you don't find very often online. And we really don't have a whole lot of tolerance for the idiocy of people coming in just saying, look at me, it's all about me, because Game Attack's not about me, it's about us.
Right.
And that's how it'll always be.
Well, you mentioned purple earlier as well too, so you have a phrase called bleed purple, and this is of course in relation to the purple and the color scheme of Game Attack, but is there a quick little story behind how purple came to be such a prominent color for you all?
Yeah, when we were looking at kind of logos and branding for Game Attack, we looked at a bunch of different colors. We looked at the last two were yellow and purple, and there's actually like a brand sheet that has like the logo with this really cool looking yellow, and we kind of went back and forth on whether it was going to be purple or yellow, and it wasn't yellow, maybe more so gold, but I think the thing we felt was that yellow kind of looked kind of bumblebee-ish with the yellow and black, and the purple was just so sleek and royal, and it looks good. It just looks good. I think that's probably the most important thing. The yellow was okay, but it's hard to print on T-shirts and stuff like that. And but the purple as a whole, it wasn't blue, it wasn't red, it wasn't lime green like Achievement Hunter, it wasn't orange like Funhouse. It was distinct, it was different. It was purple, and yeah, it just kind of fit us.
It sounds like you're pretty good with coordinating colors, so you're also no stranger to coordinating and planning events. You mentioned earlier ScrewAttack had SGC, which, for those that don't know, it was a convention that welcomed guests and gamers from around the world, and I even attended the event back in 2014 in Dallas. But
awesome.
You're doing this again with Game Attack by hosting an event called One Night Only. So my question is, how have these events impacted both you and your community?
Yeah, so One Night Only, we're obviously extremely excited about. We just sold out for a first-time event, doing what we're doing, it's outstanding. One Night Only is such a unique concept, and this kind of goes back to the idea of just trying things and seeing if they'll work. We looked at RTX, we looked at SGC, we looked at events that we've been a part of, and we saw a need for something. There's these events that you go to that there's an allure of going to an event that has 10, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 people at it. Just the sheer idea of there's so many people here, and that's awesome, right? And there's a place for that. But for us with Game Attack and our community, we put such a premium on intimacy and being able to say hi and know you and you know us. That was incredibly important to us. So as we were looking at events, how we wanted to do events, because we knew we wanted to do events from extremely early on. Like I'm talking like day one. It was like, how long will it take before we do an event? We looked at, well, do we want to do like a spiritual successor to SGC with an event that has all this stuff at SGC? And then it was like, no, we really don't want to do that because we've done that before. So what we thought was, let's just take the absolute best from SGC and make it way more intimate, to where when you go to it and you leave, you get all the same experiences from SGC, the sheer euphoria of going there, being with your buddies, experiencing this, having these once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and but not all the headaches that go with the logistics of it. And with One Night Only being this all-inclusive price, we wanted to make it so easy for people to come, to where when they show up, they're going to get a bag of their goodies, they're going to get a bag of all the merchandise, they're going to go to their room, they're going to have all this stuff ready to go for them to where you're not nickel and dimed when you go to these events. It's not, okay, well, I need to get this t-shirt because this one's here. I know it's a con exclusive. Okay, cool. And now I need to get some food. Well, it's all there for you. It's ready to go. And nobody's done anything like this before. And I think that for us is the biggest challenge and the most exciting thing for us. It's nobody's done it. Nobody's tried it. Nobody's surely sold out an event like this. And that to us is really, really cool. So, we're a couple months out from it, and now it's time to put up or shut up. And we realize that because we've been talking about it. We have a really good vision in our head. Now it's time to execute on it.
So when you recruited your newest ScrewAttack member, Grayson,
yeah,
you changed his life in what seems like, well, really honestly for the better. So how much did that mean to you, and how has he taken to the community?
Yeah, Grayson's been amazing. Grayson's been like way more than any of us could ever ask. He's come in and as you said, his life shifted so dramatically from being a first responder and a police officer to being online. But Grayson's heart is as big as his body, and he's such a big guy with such a gentle heart, and he fit because he cares. And I think that's probably one of the biggest and most important things to us is there's no facade. This isn't fake, and Grayson's not fake. He's real. And for him to be able to come in, step in, and work his butt off to fit right in, it's pretty amazing. He's done such a great job, and he's just such a lovable guy, and you want the best for him. And I think that's his story is pretty unique. Going from, like I said, a police officer to online entertainment. I don't know if there's many people who have done that before. So he's such a good dude, and I'm so happy he's a part of what we're doing.
And really, you're all good dudes, and it comes out when you guys do those. Sometimes may not come out the way you want it to, but it comes out in the way when you guys do those Mario Party streams, which are always a lot of fun. Yeah. And in fact, I'll be honest, they even inspired me to incorporate that from time to time on my channel when I can get a group of friends over. So thanks for that.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, for sure.
But on that note too, recently you've started having guests join you to play some Mario Party for edited content. So let's throw realism out of the picture here. If you could have anyone in the world join you, even if they have no interest in gaming, who would it be?
Yeah, first and foremost for me, if I was to have anybody play Mario Party with us, I would get Weird Al. I'm such a Weird Al dude. I love Weird Al. I love everything about him. He's the only interview I've ever done where I was legitimately intimidated by the person. I mean, I've interviewed, gaming celebrities and all this crap, all these people and all these big developers and stuff. But Weird Al for me, like, I have such a nostalgia attachment to him. That I was like, whoa, I just couldn't believe it when I interviewed him, and but I would love to, reconnect and have him on in a game of Mario Party. That'd be so wicked. Who I think would be really great in a game of Mario Party is Shaq.
Oh man,
yeah. Like him or like Charles Barkley. It's like Shaq in particular, though. I think he would be such a good guest and have be for like a 10-turn Super Mario Party. I think he'd be outstanding. So even though I never liked Shaq when he played, but at the same time, like I think he'd be such a great host. So.
Well, you've come a long way since forming ScrewAttack, and now being an innovator with GameAttack. If you're willing to share, what are some things you'd like to see happen with GameAttack, not only as an entity, but as a community over time?
Yeah, I want us to expand into larger productions for sure at GameAttack, to where there are more like, wow, they're doing that type of streams, like that's insane. And I want us to. We're pretty fun with our programming, but I think we can definitely take steps to do things, once again, that nobody's done, nobody's seen before. And from a community aspect of things, what I would love for everybody to do is simply just to invite a friend and invite somebody else in and continue to grow the community. I know I speak for everybody here that what we don't want to happen is we don't want to be streaming to 300 people one day and then 30,000 the next, because that's not organic. But we want to slowly grow, and we want to, we would love just to welcome new G1s as you were welcomed in, as everybody's been welcomed in, and know that this is a good place to be. And I want, when people look back and they look at, the best communities online, and there's these sites of like, well, these places for, good, for you to go that aren't just trash bags online. I want them to say, go to ScrewAttack, because their community is welcoming and awesome, and they will welcome you because this is a safe place. It's a place for you to come and be a part of, so.
Over the course of your online gaming career, what would you say is the coolest part in knowing that your content, and that's cumulatively, whether it's ScrewAttack, GameAttack, whatever, has been viewed billions of times and reached millions of individuals who like the same things that you do?
That's really surreal. It is. It's really surreal. Yeah, I think, our content from ScrewAttack on, when we did stuff with game trailers and on YouTube, and, our stuff's been viewed close to 4 billion times. And, like, that's essentially half of the Earth's population, when you really think about that. And that's mind-blowing. And to think that I've been able, just through stories and talking about, certain old games or doing a top 10 list on this, and being able to help people make up their mind about games or shape someone's opinions or have any sort of influence on anybody at all is insane to think about. It's really, really cool. And I think people use the word humbling a lot. They use it incorrectly a lot. I'm really humbled by it, but I think I'm more so honored that I've been able to be a part of people's lives, and they've been a part of mine. And I say this, to people all the time. They're like, "Oh, I've been watching you since 2007." And what I say is just like, thanks for growing up with me, because you started ScrewAttack at a time when it wasn't, I was just out of college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just started this thing with my buddy and just trying to do my best. And I think that's probably the coolest thing about it is, we weren't afraid to take risks. We haven't been afraid to take risks. We're going to continue to take risks, and we're going to try to innovate and do things that people haven't done before. And that to me is the biggest and best challenge of this whole thing. It's the reach is awesome. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing. But at the same time, right now, we're so focused on, our tight-knit group that I would much rather reach 500 people that can hear what I'm saying than 500,000 people that may or may not understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just being able to have that interaction is way more important to me.
Well, before we close out here, there's one final thing I'd like to ask. You started something many years ago with limited resources, and back before YouTube was the colossus that it is today. So, using all that experience and knowledge that you've gained, if you can give any piece of advice to aspiring creators, what would that be?
Yeah, I think the greatest slogan in the world is one that we hear all the time that we don't even think about, and it's Nike's. It's just do it. And I know that's super cliche, but don't doubt yourself. Just give it a try. And if I can bombard you with things that I've heard over the years that really resonate with me, it's just do it with Nike. Mark Cuban said something to the effect of, the wonderful thing about business is that you only need to be successful once. And then there's always the follow your heart. And I know those are all extremely cliche, but there's a reason why they're cliche, because they're true. If you have a goal, if you have an idea, just do it. Like, there's literally nothing holding you back. You can get up, you control your life. There's no reason to let anybody else control your life. Zero. You have responsibilities to you, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, and that's it. And you can do whatever you want. So if you want to go out and start a burger chain, you go start a burger chain. You want to make paper airplanes, and you want to sell them on eBay, do that. But go in, make educational guesses at what you want to do, because nobody has the answers. Just go give it a try. And especially now in the gaming space, if you want to get out, you want to start streaming, you want to start making edited stuff, the barrier is so low. There's so much free editing software. There's so much free streaming software. You can stream from your Xbox, your PlayStation 4, your PC, all so easily. So there's no reason not to do it. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you're following your heart. You're doing this. And I love you for that. You're trying. And there's really no reason to look back when you're 70, when you're 80, when you're 90 years old, and you're like, man, what have I done with my life? Don't sit back and go, well, I could have done this, but I didn't. Don't do that. just follow it, go after it, and go get it.
Those are really great words, Craig. Well,
I'm going on a motivational speech tour here next month.
Sign me up.
All right.
Well, we've heard it all, or have we? I don't know. Is there?
Oh no, we just getting started, buddy. We just getting started.
Well, seriously, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me here today, and it's truly been an honor and a pleasure, or privilege. I know you guys are familiar with that word.
Privilege. Get those pinkies out.
But is there any last words, Craig, you want to say?
Yeah, thanks for everything, guys. It's been an amazing ride, and like I said, we're still on the horse going hard, and we have different goals now, but they're still the same: community. And thanks for going up to me as we've been on this ride, and I look forward to getting old with you guys. So find me over on ScrewAttack. You guys are the best.
Well, speaking of which, as for you folks out there, if you want to follow Craig's adventures, be sure to check out ScrewAttack on both Twitch and YouTube. And likewise, tell him Baldy sent you. But this has been Craig of ScrewAttack, and I'm That Ball Gamer, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.